Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host from Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I will have some guests on in a few minutes from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Some serious issues over there. But before I bring my guests on, I want to just announce that tomorrow night, the Community Police Commission is having an engagement. Was having an engagement meeting, and the guest is going to be the new OPA director, Mr. Gino Betts. And the meeting is going to be from 6 to 8. And you can register online by sending an email to ocpc@seattle.gov. And I'll give some more information about that before the end of the show. We just wanted to get that in right now so that you'll know about it and go ahead and work on that. It's going to be a real good topic. Welcoming the new OPA director. He's coming from Chicago, and I think it's going to be a good fit for Seattle. So thank you for that. So let me check and see if my guest is here yet. She hasn't joined yet. Okay. Well, I'll just go ahead and talk about Mr. Betts. I read his resume. I think it's a good fit for Seattle. I mean, it's a long ways from 1990, before when we just gotten started there with Mothers Against Police Harassment, and to get someone at his level, caliber of education and background and experience coming to Seattle with all we have going on in Seattle. I think that if somebody wanted to come to Seattle right now, I think it's really, really, really great. And I look forward to seeing a lot of my listeners there tomorrow. And you can register again by sending an email to the Office of Community Police Commission at seattle.gov, and you'll be sent a link to register, and so that you can become part of listening. And I'm sure we'll have time for a few questions. Probably in the chat. I don't know how that's going to be handled, but I'm sure it's going to be good. So anyway, I think you really enjoy it. Number one, and number two, it's good to see an African American get that job. And all the experience coming from Chicago. Chicago is a tough place. We think Seattle is tough, not quite as tough as Chicago. Every city has their own situation. So still waiting on my guests to get on here from Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's been a trying, hard month for Muslims in Albuquerque. It's been 4 Muslim men killed in the last month, and one of the last victims was shot last week. His brother is going to come on later on today in the show. So, and we'll just take a break right now, and we'll come right back and listen to Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host from Walden.
The Public Defenders Association's Racial Disparity Project is proud to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in partnership with Mothers for Police Accountability and other community allies. The Racial Disparity Project fights for police reform and helps to increase understanding that issues of addiction, mental illness, and homelessness can be better solved through public health strategies than through law enforcement. The Public Defender Association Racial Disparity Project, reducing racial inequality in the Seattle King justice system since 1998.
As a teenager in foster care, Tanya didn't think she would be adopted.
I didn't think I would have a family.
But the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption found her a safe, loving home.
Teenagers are fun, and there are many first milestones to experience.
Every year, more than 20,000 teenagers in the U.S. age out of foster care without a family. Learn how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Hi, this is Dr. K. Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
Talk radio with a purpose. Alternative Talk 1150.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host from Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. really appreciate all our supporters and our people who help us stay on the air. And we're just really, really grateful. I want to bring on my guest from Albuquerque, Miss Samia Aside, and she's from Albuquerque. And we had the great fortune of meeting a few years ago when I was in Albuquerque. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on this beautiful space, a cherished space. Thank you.
I'm glad that you could be here. And I want to offer my condolence to you and your family and all the Muslims in your community who's suffering right now. And so I just wanted you to come on, and I am going to have Mr. Hassan's brother on at. He's going to come on at 3:30, which is 3:30 your time, and it's going to talk about the event. But I wanted you to come on first because, like I said, we've had this connection, and I know that the work you were doing, because I came there and met grassroots people you had a conference for police accountability in that city. And there was no grassroots people there. I mean, none. And then we wound up going to the court because there was a trial going on for a police officer who had shot a homeless man. And so, this is how we came about. But I just want to give you an opportunity to, number one, to give you my condolence for Mothers Police Accountability and Mothers Justice Show. I mean, we stand with you in your community. And also reached out to some people here. I've been reaching out to some of the people here in the Muslim community. Also, I'm sure they know about it, but I'm just going to reach out to them in solidarity. So.
Well, you know what? I appreciate your sentiments and your solid solidarity. It's been a rough couple of weeks for the Muslim community. We're terrified. We're scared. Some are at the point of hysteria and paranoia. But, we have to believe in the goodness of our humanity and that, this will end soon and we'll find the killer or killers.
Yes. So anyway, I'll just let you, go ahead and just talk about what it is, and what you want to get out to the world, to a larger community. I saw it was an article in the New York Times this morning. I went to CNN, and I think it was a press conference 2 days ago with the local law enforcement. So I did go out to get some information around what they said on the national scene about this.
Yes, the national has picked up on it, which is great because we needed that kind of coverage. It was hard to get that, but finally we got it. For those of your viewers who don't know what's going on, first off, I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and for the last couple of weeks, we've had a series of murders targeting Muslim men. The first victim was last November, actually. His name was Muhammad Ahmadi. I knew him well. He was a store owner, friendliest of friendly guys. And he was shot. The murder wasn't solved. He stood out his store and shot unexpectedly. And then about 2 weeks ago, we had Imtiaz Hussain, who was also shot while taking a walk on the sidewalk, just walking on the sidewalk. Then a friend of mine by the name of Muhammad Hussain, who was this beautiful young man, just a gentle soul, etiquette, Pakistani man, who was 27. They were all, very young. And he was shot. He was just walking in front of his home and shot 6 times in the head. And the fourth victim had come to the mosque for Muhammad Afzal's funeral. And my kids stood with him at the funeral. And we shared food afterwards in the mosque. And he left within an hour or two. He left the mosque. He was murdered. So it's a really scary time. He was also in his mid-20s. And, the community, as you can imagine, this is it's a mixed batch of communities. Muslim Americans have been here for a long time. New immigrants, new refugees, diverse population. There's only not many Muslims in Albuquerque, maybe max 5,000. So people were not ready to have this violence, many of whom have left violence behind in their home, just to come here. People just want to live at peace. I will tell you, after the news broke out of Muhammad, who used to play on a cricket team, and all the cricket team left town. So many other people left town. People don't feel safe. People aren't able to go around carrying their everyday chores. We're scared. It's just really scary time.
I'm sorry to hear that, but also I listened to the police there. Now they've been wanting to connection, and they're looking for some automobile, and they said, they had a description of a car that they thought that might have been leaving the scene of one of the shootings. And one of the things I know about some of this work here is that you have to continue to keep the pressure on, because the pressure you have to continue. You know that because you've done some of this work before in other cases out there, around with peace and also justice and all of that. So, and that's why it's good to get the word out, because I'm glad that it's on CNN, because I'm glad it's high profile now, because now you're going to get some research. And also, it should be, and one of the young victims also worked for a representative, an elected official.
Yes, Representative Melanie Stansbury.
Right.
Yes. And that's where I met him, actually, working. I'm part of the New Mexico Democratic Party, and in the process of working to get out the vote. That's where we first met. And apparently I knew him before, but haven't been organizing. We had talked about organizing and creating an organization together to organize the Muslim community. And it's such a loss to have men like this just, they've been taken away from us way too soon. And for this, it's such a senseless murder. It's a lot. And I will say that in my activist community, I recognize that, we want state and local and state and federal officials and police and specialists to take lead in this investigation. And we made a lot of noise to make sure the White House came out with a statement and had heard and paid attention to it, because we recognize also it has to be from the top down. The narrative has to be pushed out. But as an activist, I also know that's not enough. Right. We need the local community that does this, local organizers who do community defense day in, day out, to be on the streets, to be on the internet, to look for any signs, to be studying locations, because that's, at the end of the day, these leads are what get a lot of times how people get arrested and get caught. It's community vigilance.
I'll agree with that. It is always community vigilance and keeping the story alive. But I also believe about top down, because the last few years in America has been for the element of hatred, or that something is wrong with the other, and so this side. As someone who grew up in segregation and know all about the other in America, but it's like it's a new resurgence of this energy that the other it does not belong here, and that we should go someplace else, and then a lot of the other wrap themselves around a holy book and say that the book is just for them, and so we're in perilous times, and that's why we have to stick together, no matter if you're in a different time zone than we are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because we will not be hunted down. We have a right to
absolutely. Yes,
we have a right to be here. That even Paul Robeson said that many years ago. We have the right to walk this this land. We have a right to prosper, and we have a right to breathe this air. And we have to be in solidarity to say, so we're not going anywhere.
No, we're not.
Really and truly, one of the scriptures says the earth is the Lord. So, the earth belongs to the Most High. People don't own anything. We're just
absolutely
travelers. We're just travelers. we're just travelers. We're not gonna. Number one, we're not gonna live forever, and we know that we're not gonna get out of here. We're not gonna get lifted someplace else. Nothing's coming for us. But I do know that we didn't talk about whether these young men had families or not. I mean, I'm sure they got families, but I don't know if they have children or not. Do they have children? The storekeeper?
The storekeeper, I think, had a family. The others had, like Muhammad was supposed to get married in September. And
next month, September.
Yes. And the others, I'm not sure if they were married, but I do know they had nephews and nieces. I mean, the horror of seeing the kids cry on the grave of Muhammad Afzal, it was just a lot. His brother will tell you, his kids, and it was a lot. It was just a lot to see the community and families. Naeem did not have family members here. Atib, I think, did have, but they were young.
Yeah,
they were
young. You know what? I'm going to call you sister because I know you, sister.
We are sister.
I mean, America is now an exceptional country where people just kill people just because they're bored. They're not fighting over land, water, or food. It's just that violence is in the land, and just for fun. I mean, the guy went to the Buffalo grocery store. I mean, the people were just doing about a Saturday. I didn't know them. And then the young man that went to the school in Texas, it's like, and so there's something wrong with America. This exceptionalness and this thing that we're so above everybody else. I mean, even in so-called backwater countries, they're not just killing people for fun, or just because they're bored. Okay, I mean, there's something else that's going on, and so we have to talk about the fact that America is a violent country, and that and push back on all of these ideas about that. Guns don't kill people; people do. Well, I mean, if you don't have access to them, then you have to think of another way. And by the time you think of another way, a person that you wanted to harm is probably gone.
Well, you know what? You can't separate what's happening in Albuquerque from the rest of what's happening in the country.
That's right.
A political agenda has been set for over 100 years in regards to how some Americans view their right, their existence on this land, contrary to people who just want the right to live, and it is their right to live with full dignity and respect and freedom. And we were born to be free. Who's that to take it away from us? Who's that to take it from us, right? I believe, and I don't want to, hinder any of the investigation or spread misinformation, but I'm going to get my own personal perspective on what I see. I see that, like New Mexico is a majority state, that's majority people of color state. It's a warm state. It's very loving. There's some racism, but never to this extent. New Mexico has never seen this, actually, at least in the last 30, 40 years, to the extent of a serial killer. And this is a serial killer. Right. Yes, there's been violence, 100%, but not to the extent of a serial killer to target a marginalized community. Here's, I don't even like to say I'm marginalized, because that also makes me
No,
right?
All human, God didn't marginalize.
Exactly.
Do that. Exactly. Systems did that. Systems did that.
Systems did that.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely, the systems did that. But going back to what I believe is, like, I saw many people come in not from New Mexico, who started to rile up trouble. Some of the Proud Boys, some of the white supremacists that would come into different protests, whether indigenous communities, when we fought for Black lives, when we fought for different social justice issues. They would come in and be contrary, come in with a contrary agenda. I've personally faced middle-aged white men chasing after me in cars, spitting at me, waving weapons at me, but nobody did anything further than that. And some people will say that's crazy. You suffered that and you continued. It's like, of course I'm going to continue. What do you want me to stop talking and fighting? This is what our mission is in life, right? But I cannot, in my mind, accept that this serial killer is not tied to that kind of agenda. I may be wrong. It may be something completely wrong.
Well, I've been here before the Civil War. My people have, and the atrocities that we have had been reaped on us. Most of it was unprovoked violence. This is what you're talking about: is unprovoked violence. Everyone was going about their normal life. The shopkeeper was outside his property, had a right to come outside the door, and the last gentleman was leaving the mosque after being there in ceremony. With commemoration of somebody else who had been murdered. So really, it is something going on, and also one of the fights that you all was in. I mean, I had people on the show was from the Navajo because they didn't get what they need. They talk about you need to wash your hands and drink clean water. The Navajo people did not have clean water. They did not, and you all was involved with that because I had Linda on the show, and they were trying to get water to the. And then I also had one of the spokesperson from the Navajo community, and that's what I see that you all have been working together. But this seed of hatred is deep in America, sister, and that's what we have to understand. It's deep, and it's been deep for over 400 for the whole time. I mean, because 18 million Native Americans have lost their lives when the colonizers came. Okay, they also brought smallpox and gave it to them on blankets and stuff. So this has been a continual fight against the other, and so all I want you to know is that we will stay together. I mean, I'll have you on again. We still got a few more minutes here, but also, I mean, just look at all the beauty of the people on the planet. You've probably done more world traveling than me. I have children who are world travel. My son has been to Dubai, lived in Abu Dhabi, East Africa.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, it's all those places. And so he's seen the world. I've seen the world in the National Geographics and, and that kind of stuff. But there are so many beautiful people in the world.
Your heart is the world. Your heart is the world.
It is.
You have exhibited everything that is beautiful in this world and what it means, what love means in this world. And I thank you for that. It really, from the bottom of my heart.
But, that's what I'm here for, because really, if not us, I mean, if we don't bring a consciousness of love in the room, who will bring it? Because surely the other people will not bring it. So we really, I mean, if this is our destiny to be part of that, then we must bring it in the room. We can't leave it home.
No, we can. And it's our duty. It's our duty to get up.
It is our duty.
And it's, there has to be an element of faith that guides us.
Right. That's right.
And there's a lot of business of faith in America, but none of it is spoken truth gospel or truth to the religion.
That's right.
Truth to the core of human principles and
that's right.
And in the holy books. It's just like America professes to be a religious space. What does that actually mean?
Right. Well, we know, you and I can say as mothers, we know that it did not extend to the children who was taken away from the mothers at the border.
Absolutely not.
And the sadness, and some of those mothers will never see their children again. I mean, it's the same kind of, and so, but one of the things that I tell people, my religion is like is kindness, like the 8th century Dalai Lama said. If you don't have kindness and generosity, everything else isn't true.
You know what? That's so true. I want to add a point that the last victim, Naim, as he left the funeral and the food and left the mosque, he went to the Lutheran Family Services. I think he volunteered there or worked there. And, that's another angle is that they were targeting the refugee and immigrant community.
Right.
It's really really scary, really frustrating.
It
but
is.
We will persevere. We will persevere because we have no other way.
Yes, you will. And they talk about refugee. Well, the Christ child had to, we're going to make it up anew. We're going to bring it up to speed. He had a motor with his mother and father when he was a Christ, when the baby into Egypt. That's what the scripture says. So we've had immigrants and people moving across borders. If you check the ancient story and you believe it, well, then he crossed borders.
well, and back then they didn't have borders. Who put the borders?
No, they didn't have borders. But today they want to have borders. But
I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being on my show, sister, and we'll be in touch together again, and I'll be looking for the updates and all of it, and be watching what law enforcement is doing in Albuquerque. I'll be watching that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and so will we. We'll have future conversations. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you too, honey. Love you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. We're going to take a break. I'm your host from Walden. We'll be right back. Thank you.
The Public Defenders Association's Racial Disparity Project is proud to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in partnership with Mothers for Police Accountability and other community allies. The Racial Disparity Project fights for police reform and helps to increase understanding that issues of addiction, mental illness, and homelessness can be better solved through public health strategies than through law enforcement. The Public Defender Association Racial Disparity Project, reducing racial inequality in the Seattle King justice system since 1998.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host from Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I'm going to bring my next guest on in just a minute here. Hello.
Hey, how are you? This is Muhammad Imtiaz. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you for being Miss Assad just got off. I knew her already from Albuquerque because I've been to Albuquerque before. I want to offer you my condolence in the loss of your brother, and just the condolence for the whole community. I did go to CNN today, and I went to Albuquerque newspapers, and also the New York Times had a big article about what's happening in Albuquerque. So at least you're getting some national attention to this. And I know that the National Muslim Association put out a statement about this. So I just wanted to give you time to come on and talk about, your family and what's going on. And, all the connections. And it sounds like all these are wonderful people. It's something going on in America, and it's about hatred. And it's on Front Street right now. I grew up in another era when it was, but welcome to Mother's Justice Show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Muhammad Imtiaz, and my brother, Muhammad Afzal, he got shot. He was a gracious young man. He came to United States in 2017 as a grad student at the University of New Mexico. And he was a student leader. He participated in election and the Graduate Student Association and was elected as president of Graduate Student Association, University of New Mexico. So being a student leader, he initiated a lot of plans to raise voices for graduate students in the university and creating all those hurdles and red tape in university that happen, create dropout or lengthy time to graduate being a graduate student. He coordinated all academic and non-academic staff and liaison with university, with other financial department and governor. So he was a very active person. And then he briefly being interned with City of Los Lunas, city government. after graduation, right away, he worked with Melanie Stansbury. She's a congresswoman here in the state of New Mexico and is campaign organizer, which he got very successful, that this campaign made success and she was elected as congresswoman. He was very passionate and he said, I have a dream to become politician here because he know what are the grassroots problems here and how to tackle, and I can raise voice of those. But he said, look, I have a handicap. I do not have any green card or passport. I'm Pakistani. So let me do first to get that. So a job was offered City of Espanola, who could be able to do their work, green card work on green card process. So he was selected as director planning department in University of New Mexico. So he really enjoyed that. And so much so that the city of Espanola offered him and awarded him a house on 100-acre ranch, a beautiful house surrounded by apple trees. So he was not married. He said, look, I have a house now, I have a place, I have a job. Now I can find a woman and can get married. I wanted to raise my kids here. So he said, look, will have a process, like few years that I will be stable and will have a passport, and then I will jump into politics. You will see me in the US Congress one day and you will feel proud of me being a brother. And look, when we will have enough money, we'll open a school and some charity organization to help people where we came from, Pakistan. So our dream is fulfilled. The night he just came from his office, he usually drives from Albuquerque to the city of Espanola, and he came back around 7 o'clock, 6:50, and he was here with my kids, but he got a call and he went outside around 9 o'clock and he got shot. We didn't know that he got shot. My brother is there and he got shot. We thought he's somewhere with his friend, and I called him multiple times. His phone didn't respond, and then I called 911 later and they said, your brother is shot. I said, shot? He said, yes, he's deceased. Who did that? Why did that? So it was very painful.
Yeah, just the way that they delivered that to you, with just to say that way. I'm just the harshness of hearing it that way was harsh. I'm sorry that you learned about it that way. Very sorry. Yeah. So wow, that didn't seem right. And of course, what they said at the press conference is that I think. Is that maybe a car might have been identified and they're looking for a vehicle?
I did confirm that because the day I went outside and started asking people what happened to my brother, how it happened. They identified that there was a sedan car. It was grayish color car, sedan. And there was a guy, he was shooting from the car. He shot first time on the corner and then he tried to escape. He came on the other side and shot him again multiple times, making sure he died. There were two weapons were used and they just finished him.
I'm just so sorry, the brutality of that. And what I was telling my sister before you came on is that America is an exceptional country now. I mean, they always had America was exceptional. They were exceptional above the world or everybody else. And now America is an exceptional country because people shoot people just because. They're not fighting for land. They're not fighting for water. They're not fighting for food. It's just because they can. And that's really what is happening now. And of course, with the politics the last few years, hatred is just everywhere. I mean, people has given the card the okay to dislike people in a public way. And this dislike of the other is really, really continuing on here in America. And from my understanding that this sort of violence is sort of new to New Mexico as it relates to what's happening to your community. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what my sister said earlier, that this kind of violence, I mean, people organize all the time in Mexico because I was there doing some organizing. But what usually was around police violence is what the other kind of violence that we had there in New Mexico with a consent decree and all of that stuff. But this is so totally different. And now, did you know the shopkeeper that was murdered last November?
Yeah, I do know that there was a shopkeeper from Afghani origin, and he got murdered outside of his shop. But I don't know, there was nothing had been related to him, or there was no any issue that either it was a hate, it was a single incident. But what happened right now, in 10 days, 3 killings of person with same 3 names. So with no connection with each other. So, so that is the thing which is very painful.
Right. Very painful, very painful.
Yeah.
And all of these were young men, had such a bright future. I mean, all of them were young men. Bright future. It seemed like they were doing good things in their community. And good things in their community. So, wow. It's, again, one of the things we want to do is to make sure that we always get an update from what's happening in Albuquerque. And I know that local people have to sometimes keep the pressure on law enforcement to be able to solve the crimes. You know, I mean, the pressure has to stay on. You never back off the pressure, because sometimes when you back off the pressure, then they back off too. So I'm glad you got an organized community there. Just going to keep the pressure on law enforcement. And I also know that I believe that the National Muslim Organization put out a statement calling for something to be done about this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Right. Yeah. So, wow. And how many brothers do you have, or how many brothers?
We are 4 brothers, but after that, my brother died. Now we're 3 brothers and a sister.
Right. Yeah. And my sister that was on before, she was thinking that you mentioned the fact that your brother was excited and was thinking about getting married because he was getting settled, thinking about starting a family, and getting married. So yeah. So again, we just want to keep the story alive, and knowing that there's disruptive politics going on around the country, and a lot of people say guns don't kill people. People do. But if those guns wasn't available that way, then a lot of people would not be killed. And so we have to look at all of that as we go forward from where we are today, just doing other things. So anyway, just wanted to make sure that you had some time you could come on and just talk about what's going on, and and just what's the future. What are you all, what are you planning, and I mean, I know you want something done because you don't want to live in fear. I mean, America does not belong to the people; it belongs to everybody. Everybody's here now, and so just wanted to make sure that you could get out a message that you wanted to get out. Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't know. It's very difficult. This is a place where we had been living for last 8-9 years. We never had any fear. We never had any alienation. Things happen here. Sometimes people are stealing. There are druggy people come around. They steal bikes, something, vandalize car. So, but killings, this is something new. And killing that with that brutality is something new. So that creates horror in the society, a community we live around. Muslim community or international students live around here. There is a sense of horror that how can they walk to university, they go for exercise, they go for taking evening classes. So this creates a fearful environment around university campus.
Right. Yeah. So thank you. All right. Well, I just wanted to let you come on and just
thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Go ahead. Listen to the Mother's Justice Show. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
The Public Defenders Association's Racial Disparity Project is proud to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in partnership with Mothers for Police Accountability and other community allies. The Racial Disparity Project fights for police reform and helps to increase understanding that issues of addiction, mental illness, and homelessness can be better solved through public health strategies than through law enforcement. The Public Defender Association Racial Disparity Project, reducing racial inequality in the Seattle King justice system since 1998.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden Smith. Joy to be on the air. want to thank my previous guests that came on from Albuquerque. It was hard for him, and especially the brother, because this is recent that his brother was murdered a few days ago. I mean, past week. And so anyway, and I really appreciate the generosity of being able to come on and talk about this. And I'm glad that now it has been lifted up to a national level. Like I said earlier, the New York Times had a extensive article about this. CNN did also. And then I did watch the press conference, and then there's a vehicle that they're looking for. And as the sister said, Ms. Assad said to them, is that they've had, I got to know her doing organizing around a police issue. And then I got to know a lot of other people organizing around the issue about when COVID hit that way, and the Navajo people did not have water. And they had to bring water to the reservations. There's a lot of Navajos living in New Mexico. And so we brought that information to our listeners. And so our goal is to keep the grassroots voice alive, not only in Seattle, but around the country. But this is the grassroots people who do the work. Now, the other people might come in and get the jobs, be police accountability and get those jobs. But it's the people in the streets who's made the difference and opening these doors. And it was my pleasure to be able to work with them and to offer what I could. So anyway, we will be bringing you updates from time to time from New Mexico, from Albuquerque, because originally I'd reached out to them because it was a young man. It was a SWAT activity back in July, and they put the canisters of tear gas and all that in there, and they were trying to apprehend someone. But another young man was not a suspect of a crime, and nobody rescued him, so he died. And that's the reason why I made a call to my friends in Albuquerque to try to find out what that, and that was going to be my show today. But in the meantime, I found out about this information, and so wanted to bring that to my listeners here. We'll bring the other information about the young man that died in the house with the police not rendering any help for the young man who was not a suspect of a crime at all. So I'll bring that information. Of course, next week we're going to talk about Marcus Garvey because his birthday is the 17th. It's the 17th, and so next Monday on the 15th, we're going to be actually talking about Marcus Garvey, who was a liberator of African people, came to America in the 1900s, actually 1917 or 18, and came to meet Booker T. And Booker T had already passed on. But I'll spend a lot of time next week going over his quotes and just talking about the life of Marcus Garvey. We usually have a party, and we're still trying to figure out if we're going to do a party or not. Hopefully we can. We got people that have their masks on and all this other stuff that's going on right now. But I'm just glad that we have this platform to be able to bring information to people. And also I reached out to the Muslim community because I've done a lot of work with the Muslim community over time. I mean, not only the Nation of Islam, but the international Muslims who's also come to America. But previously I've done a lot of work with the Nation of Islam and also other international Muslims. And so they have a very active Muslim community here in Seattle. And so I will be looking to talk to them. And I do know some people in the National Office of Care, about the National Office about Muslims and Muslims Affairs. So I know some people in that office also. But I want to announce again about the meeting on that's going to be tomorrow night, the community engagement meeting. And with the new, we have a new director for OPA. And his name is Gino Betts from Chicago. And the meeting starts tomorrow night from 6 to 8. And you can get in touch with the Office of Community Police Commission at seattle.gov. And you can register. They'll send you the link so you can register. And then you'll be able to come on for the meeting for the city. I think this is a good hire. Mothers for Police Accountability is really pleased with this selection. I'm sure it was a competitive selection. And I think there's someone that's out there wanting to come to Seattle right now with the police. With the police department has been, pretty much It's almost a skeleton of what it was in 2013. That's when it when 2012 when the DOJ came to town. So there's been a lot of changes in Seattle, and some of them has not been for the best, for the better. But I believe this is going to be one of the good hires for the city of Seattle, and be able to take the Office of Police Accountability on to the next level of being able to investigate complaints about police officers, and hopefully that office will strengthen itself. And then I want to give a shout out to the Office of Inspector General with Inspector Lisa Judge there. They've done a great job in the Sentinel Review. I mean, and the Sentinel Review, I didn't think that much of it at first, but I tell you, I'm highly impressed by it, because what it does is almost like the FAA, but when there's an airplane crash, they come in and tell you what happened, what needs to change. And so the Sentinel Review absolutely talked to people and reviewed some of the police policies and made recommendations, and some of those new policies have already been implemented. And I think that the community probably needs to know about that. And so in the future, I'll have her on my show, and I do believe that an invitation is going out to the Office of the Inspector General to actually present the findings on some of the Sentinel Review findings there on the community policing engagement monthly meeting that we have. And lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to Felicia Cross, as she's the director there of the community engagement for the Community Police Commission. And she does a great job at getting people out. I mean, it's about engaging people, getting people to come out, and also African-American people, because a lot of people want to talk about what we need and how, a lot of people have a lot of things to say about the African-American community, what we need, but they don't have any lived experience. And I did have a conversation with the chief the other day after the Torchlight Parade, and he was talking about, so many Black people were saying, "Hey, way to go, Chief, you're doing a good job." And he was just his heart was so warmed by that, because the narrative is that we all hate the police, and that's not true. I mean, we want constitutional policing. I mean, we want if you're going to arrest somebody, they need to get to jail or without being beat up, and put their handcuffs on so that they can use their wrists and not be tortured that way. But to live, we're not abolitionists. I mean, we're not the new abolitionists. I mean, the old abolitionists was a whole different reality. But people want us to believe that we have all these other systems, that we don't need policing, and that's not true. We need constitutional policing. We need all the racism. We need police officers who have a high bias against other people. Bias is a new word for racism. But we need people who absolutely want to make the world better and not just harm other people because you don't like them. I mean, and we see what happens when people harm other people who don't like them, because you don't like them. And then we have to address the other elephant in the room is violence in the Black community. I mean, violence in the Black community, people make poor choices with guns, just like these people did over in Albuquerque. People in Seattle make poor choices with guns. And some of those people are young people. And so we need to be concerned about that. And Mothers is concerned about that. Our new model is both and. We will do both. We'll do both and. No longer can we talk about just one issue in the community. We really want to talk about all the issues and how we're going to come up with a holistic plan. And the mayor says, how do you build one Seattle? One Seattle. Well, that's because we have to have a healing. We have to have some real tools and working together. So anyway, so this is good. We've had a great show today. I want to thank you all for listening. And I'll be back next week. We're going to talk about my favorite liberator, Mr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So thank you. This is Harriet Walden with Mother's Justice Show, and I'll talk to you another time. Have a great week and stay hydrated. Thanks.